And did you hear Donald Trump's huge announcement yesterday?
I will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
So what's wrong with that? We're going to take a closer look coming up.
Plus, democracy at 36,000 feet. All passengers on this plane glued to the debate, or were all of them glued to the debate? Which screen is not like the others? This couch is packed. We're glad you're with us. Mornings are better with friends.
Coming up very shortly, we're going to take you out to Michigan, and you're going to meet that fella who has started a great program. He actually gives his young patrons at the barber shop a discount if they read books.
That is hashtag best barber. Love him.
The Fuller Cut Barbershop.
You're going to want to hear that and his story and why he's doing it. Live from Ypsilanti, Michigan coming up. But right now, live from the Kirby Couch in Midtown Manhattan, we got Geraldo Rivera and Judge Jeanine Pirro, all back from Vegas.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Late last night?
That's right.
Still talking
When'd
politics.
you get back?
I did Hannity last night at 11 o'clock covering the roast.
The Al
not the roast.
Smith.
That's a
the Al Smith dinner, also known as a roast.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so the headlines this morning in the New York papers, Donald Trump booed. They were all doing jokes, but it was very clear, and we're going to play a sizable montage for you, that the New York elite in attendance,
Yes.
not big fans of Trump. What?
Nobody can compete with God. Is that correct? Nobody, right? That's right. No contest. It's great to be here with 1,000 wonderful people, or as I call it, a small, intimate dinner with some friends. Or as Hillary calls it, her largest crowd of the season.
Donald, if at any time you don't like what I'm saying, feel free to stand up and shout wrong while I'm talking.
We have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me."
People look at the Statue of Liberty and they see a proud symbol. Donald looks at the Statue of Liberty and sees a 4. Maybe a 5 if she loses the torch and tablet and changes her hair. You know, come to think of it, you know what would be a good number for a woman? 45.
Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. How corrupt do you have to be to get kicked off the Watergate Commission?
Looking back, I've had to listen to Donald for 3 full debates, and he says I don't have any stamina. That is 4.5 hours.
I wasn't really sure if Hillary was going to be here tonight, because I guess you didn't send her invitation by email. And a totally different policy. Now, if some of you haven't noticed, Hillary isn't laughing as much as the rest of us. That's because she knows the jokes. All of the jokes were given to her in advance of the dinner by Donna Brazil.
See, now that's a funny joke, and
funny.
the crowd booed, and the big boo was when he said, you know, here she is pretending she likes Catholics, which if you follow along with the WikiLeaks, that's an inside story about Jen Palmieri, a communications person, saying that Catholics need to wake up and get out of the dark ages.
Well, yeah, how can you possibly go to the L. Smith dinner and not comment on the fact that there are all these anti-Catholic emails from Podesta and everyone else?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I've been on the dais at that dinner, okay? And there are zings and barbs, and I have to tell you, I thought it was hysterical. We were laughing. They were funny.
They were booing there, though.
But you know why? It's the New York City elite, the intelligentsia. We are different from the rest of the country in New York City. And honestly, I just can't believe, and by the way, she can't deliver the way he can deliver. Donald Trump owns the television. She doesn't. But that's just me, maybe, right, Geraldo?
I disagree with the judge's review of, you know, I think Donald Trump had a very hard time delivering the jokes. In summary, you know, with your clip reel there, the jokes appear funny, but when you're stumbling, they can have a mean tint. I agree to this extent. That comedy scene, that roast, showed the bias of the people in the room. It really did. I think that it was very revealing. Ironically, it was one of the most vivid depictions of how the New York, elite feel about these candidates. So I think Donald really was much more awkward in delivery, but still, I think he mistook it for a roast, and the crowd was unforgivable, and they showed their bias, I think, very clearly.
I think Maria Bartiromo stole the show.
I think Maria stole the show.
Without a doubt.
That should be the headline.
Should we tell them why?
She looked beautiful.
She was right behind.
She was in red, right there with the white gloves and the red dress. Gorgeous.
She did look good.
Lady with the red dress,
Let's talk about Project Veritas. So Project Veritas, we saw a few days ago, that was released. It was, this guy goes into Hillary Clinton's camp and spends 1 year behind the scenes and gets a lot of things on tape that the folks who work for Hillary have no idea he's recording. He records them saying they're inciting violence. They're going to Donald Trump's rallies and they're suggesting that they're hiring people to start violence. So Newt Gingrich was on with Sean Hannity last night and he says, where is the FBI in all of this?
He is absolutely right. First of all, you and I know that Loretta Lynch and the Justice Department would be there in 3 seconds if it were reversed, if there were Democrats who were being, victimized, according to them. But you know what? People can say, where's the FBI? Where's the Justice Department? There's a violation of civil rights and all that. But you know what? As a former prosecutor, I would put a criminal case together without the FBI, without the Justice Department, because they're clearly the most politicized Justice Department in the history of this country. I've got the tape, I've got the proof, I've got the intent. Whether I tie it to the White House or not is for the feds. But as a local prosecutor, when I've got someone coming in, inciting riots, inciting violence, cops bloodied, victims and paid, victims being injured, then I can indict them. Don't wait for the feds, because they ain't coming.
And he visited the White House 300
times.
Back up to the political impact. In Chicago, the Trump rally disrupted by violence. At the time, it was apparent to anyone watching that they were paid, I don't know if they were paid or not, that there were agitators there, that they went there with the intent of provoking some of the, and some of the Trump supporters, we have to admit, are people on the fringe. I mean, some small percentage. It doesn't take many. But if you see somebody wearing a crazy this or that, it's easy to go up to them and say, to provoke
You're
an outburst.
blaming the victim.
I am absolutely not blaming the victim. I'm saying that there is this political aspect to it. Now, is it a crime? I think that's a stretch to say that it is a crime. To show cause and effect, I think it would be very, very difficult, and then trace it all the way back to the White House. But let me say this about the politics of it. If this story had broken before the first debate, it would have had, I think, a profound impact on the course of this campaign. It would have undermined the Clinton campaign and would have drawn intense scrutiny on these dirty tricks operators. The fact that it's coming so late in the game, after the third debate, the candidates, what you saw at the Al Smith dinner, probably the last occasion they'll be together. So now it's coming too late to affect the result that happens 18 days from now. People cannot absorb it. It's like WikiLeaks.
But you know what you're talking about? You're talking about politics in a campaign. I'm talking about crime. I'm talking about justice in this country. I'm talking about people who decide that, what they're going to do is incite riots and incite violence. That is against the law in the United United States of America.
As a
and you cannot
as a former prosecutor.
No, I am a district attorney. I could indict them in 3 seconds.
Could not.
Yes. Oh, don't tell me what I can do. Don't tell me that there isn't evidence there to file a charge and get a conviction.
You had somebody there, a big belly scratching politician there saying, yeah, we do this stuff. Now taking that braggadocio and converting that into a specific criminal prosecution.
I did that for a living.
A mountainous task.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got a feeling they're not going to agree on this. All right, Geraldo, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Woo!
All right, let's hand it over to Abby, who has some headlines.
She's over there at sea. Smoking over here.
That's not fair. All right, we do have some other headlines to get to this morning. Happening right now, this is some breaking news. ISIS militants are